So, welcome everyone to the student track kickoff at DevDays 2025. My name is Anja Schwab, and I'm happy that you're all here and that you made your way to Amsterdam. I know some are here from Austria, some are here from Amsterdam. I guess your way wasn't that long. So what is gonna, just a quick disclaimer for anyone who's not part of the student track. This is only an introductory session for the students. You're of course welcome to stay, but you're probably not gonna gain that many new information if you're here. But the session that you are interested in is gonna be the student pitches at 3:45. Yes. What is this session about? I mean, I just mentioned it. I'm going to give you an introduction on basically how you can make the most out of your day at DevDays. And then James will give us a quick FHIR perspective. Who am I? My name is Anja. How did I end up here? So basically, this is what happens when you give feedback about the student track afterwards. No, I'm just kidding. I'm here because I want to inspire more young people to become a part of this community and to basically just make an effort with all of us together to make digital healthcare better. Because it's really important. I mean, healthcare is an aspect that affects pretty much everyone, and I think it's amazing that we can make a difference in that way. And the FHIR community is a very special one. That's actually back when I was in the student track, when I was sitting there just like you, I was excited, I was nervous, I probably didn't have enough sleep, but that's just what happens. But you know, I was excited what was going to happen, and that DevDays event was what started the spark in me for FHIR, and what inspired me to say, hey, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to make an impact. And that's why I'm here today. I hope I can motivate you to join the community as well, and just give you that little bit of introduction. And I mean, I don't think you can convince anyone at a party that standardization is fun, but we all know it is. So yeah. What I'm currently doing, I'm an independent contractor with Elga GmbH, which is the Austrian medical health record. And there I'm working on a project that I had to put the logo there just because it's so cool. So it's about modern patient billing and data communication on FHIR, and that works out to an acronym that in German means motorcycle. So I don't know who came up with the acronym, but yeah, it leads to a lot of puns. So yeah, now it's over to you. We have 3 teams today, 2 teams from Austria, 1 team from the Netherlands, and I'm so excited that you're here. I already had a peek at some of your slides and some of your things, and I'm really, really excited to see what you're going to pitch later on. So it's going to be very, very exciting to hear that. But now just to some information for you for today. So right now we're in the kickoff. It's actually not in the Bright Lab. They changed the room last minute, so that's not up to date. But I mean, you made it here, so. Afterwards, you will have a career session with Lloyd. That will be happening from 10:15 to about 11. It's going to be an informal session. So it's not going to be like he's going to hold a presentation, just talk the entire time. So it's supposed to be more like a session for you where you can ask questions. If you're interested, hey, what does your typical day look like? What can you expect from going into a career path like this? Those are all sorts of things. I mean, you can even just ask him anything you're interested in. So he's going to be available for you, and just have that informal talk with you. Afterwards, we'll have the hackathon. Some of you I met in the lounge. So that is also where the hackathon and the demo sessions are going to be. So you'll get your own table with your team. We'll have a sign there that says your team and your title. And then pretty much I'll go into more details about that later on. And in the afternoon, you can attend some of the other interesting sessions that are going on, because there's always at DevDays lots of sessions in parallel. So in the afternoon, you can just pick one for yourself. Then the most exciting part, for me at least, are going to be the pitches that are happening at 3:45 on the main stage. So I don't know if you saw when you walked in or if you saw the session in the morning, but that's also where you're going to present. So hopefully we'll have lots of people come and watch that. But yeah, definitely there will be a lot of people watching when we announce the winner, and you get to present your presentation again. And then in the evening, we're going to have the social event, but I'll go into a little bit more details. So the hackathon. The hackathon is where you meet the other teams. You can talk to each other. I mean, you're technically competitors, but we're all friends here. So yeah, you can just finalize your app or your pitch. Some of you have probably already finished. Some might not have. So yeah, make sure that your app is ready to be demoed. And then what was really cool during my dev days was we actually tried to exchange some FHIR data to see if data from other teams would work with our application. You can, for example, exchange a patient resource or something else that applies to your use case. You can just try to figure that out with the other teams and see if you can make it work. And then also kind of like talk about that during your pitches. Maybe say, hey, we tried this, it worked, or it didn't work. Just to see and give you a little bit of a feeling what people in the FHIR community typically do during a hackathon. Then during lunchtime, you will, you can just stay at your tables where you already are, and people that will be in the lounge during lunch can just walk up to you and be like, hey, can you show us your app? Or you can proactively walk up to people and be like, hey, we did this cool thing, can we show you? That leads to some interesting conversations and to some interesting connections with people. But don't forget to also eat, fuel your body, and relax a little bit. So yeah. Do you know what the most important part about Dev Days is? It's the FHIR community. So what you can really take advantage of during your time here at Dev Days is to just start a conversation. I know it can be intimidating to just walk up to someone and be like, hey, I'm here now, hello, and just talk to them. But I came up with some fun conversation starters to help you. So, so for example, you could ask, what is your favorite FHIR resource and why? Depending on who you're talking to, you're going to get some very passionate answers about that. Or you can ask, are you team XML or team JSON? And why is it JSON? Or if you could add one new resource to FHIR, what would it be? There's also some strong opinions. Or just a little bit more serious, what was your most exciting or your most inspiring moment with FHIR? So just walk up to them. All of the people here are really, really friendly, and that's what I like so much about this community is you can just walk up to anyone and they will be happy to talk to you. Or even if you have a question about FHIR, they'll be happy to answer. So yeah, take advantage of that, and you might find some interesting connections that you'll have for years and years and years to come. So yeah, in the afternoon, there will actually be some keynotes on the main stage that you can go and watch. They're definitely gonna be very interesting. Today is also the track about Women for FHIR. So if you're interested, that's a session that I can highly recommend. It's gonna be actually a bunch of people working on bridging the gender gap and actually creating something here at Dev Days, like an implementation guide for women's health. But there's also a bunch of other sessions going on in parallel. You can check in the Whova app and just see where they're going on and just listen to whatever you're interested in. So then we get to the pitches. The pitches are going to be 5 minutes long, and there will be time for questions from either the audience or from the jury that I will introduce to you in a little bit. So yeah, some of you have already sent your slides to me. I'm not sure if I got everyone, but yeah, just make sure that I have your slides by 2 o'clock. So yeah, now on to the competitive element of the track. There's 5 categories that we're going to be scoring. So one of them is originality, and I already know, since I know the titles of your projects, that you all had really great ideas. The second one is applicability of your solution to practice. The use of FHIR, of course. I mean, we're at FHIR DevDays. But what's also really important, and what you're going to learn very quickly, is that if you want to make a change or you want to make a difference, especially in a field like healthcare, you need a team. You can't do it alone. So teamwork is also one of the aspects that we're going to be looking at. And then, of course, your presentation, because that's how we're going to find out about your projects. So the winning team will present their project, their application, again then at 5:30 in the afternoon. And there will be some cool FHIR swag for everyone. So, yeah. Don't forget, in the evening, we're going to have the social event that I highly recommend you go to. It's going to be at Nemo this time, and the buses leave. So the final presentation is at 5:30, and then the last buses leave at 6 o'clock. So after the presentation wraps up, we're all going to head out to the buses, and they're going to bring us to the social event. So, yeah, I know what we're going to be doing tonight. But what do FHIR resources do at night? They get restful sleep. So, yeah, now let's get to our jury. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to let the people introduce themselves because, I mean, they know themselves better than I do. So, Gino, please come up.
Morning. Yes, morning. Hi, I'm Gino Canessa. I'm a principal software engineer at Microsoft in research, do standards and interop. I've been doing FHIR stuff since 2019. And sadly, I was doing DICOM stuff for a couple of decades before that. So yeah, I've been around longer than I'd like to admit. It's weird because it only feels like it's been a couple years. Yeah, so happy to be here, and I guess I don't know how much time I'm supposed to use up. So, so I was thinking the other day. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, definitely very excited to see all the work and everything that everyone's working on, the creative ideas. I love that. Anja is right about the community. Like, that is the best part. When I started in 2019, I had been in healthcare, but in a different area. And I remember my first Dev Days was a couple of weeks after I started. So I knew 0 people. And very quickly, you know everybody. And so definitely engage. I personally am not a fan of, I used to be terrified of public speaking. And so I can empathize with all of that. And I'll say, like, everyone here, we're all a bunch of standards nerds. So we all feel all of those things as well, and we're all people. And so don't worry, whatever you need, we're all here to help. And yeah, definitely enjoy it, lean into it, whatever, hopefully we're all here to try and make healthcare better and help patients, because we're all patients and our families are all patients and everyone's patient. And so hopefully some of you will continue on and continue this as you move through life. And if not, I won't hold it against you either. So, yeah, I don't know.
Awesome. So
awesome.
What's your favorite FHIR resource?
My favorite FHIR resource. I think I'm contractually obligated to say subscription topic. So I think I have to say that. But really, probably my favorite is observation, because everything's an observation. I observed your name is Anja. I observed your address. I observed. So it's great. And anytime you can't find a place for something, just make an observation. So, please don't. In all seriousness, please don't. But yes. Yeah, probably I'll go with that. That sounds fun. Yeah. Yeah, sure. All right.
Thank you so much, Gino. Then, second, we have Miriam.
Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Miriam, and as you can see from my yellow shirt, I work for FHIR. FHIR helps organize this event, but we are a software tech company. So at FHIR, I am actually a FHIR trainer. So I get to go places and do training courses on FHIR, travel around the world and, well, educate people on FHIR. So yeah, sometimes my colleagues say half of the people here, they have had a training course by you. Probably not true though, but yeah, you think, well, I don't know. At least I think it's a very nice job because I told Gino yesterday, I actually don't really feel important because I don't do the important stuff, right? Like creating apps and creating tools to get people to be healthy. But then they always tell me, yeah, but you're in the background behind that because you have to tell people how to be able to do that. So yeah, I kind of am maybe a little bit important, but then on the background. And similar to Gino, I actually didn't like public speaking either. I'm still very nervous whenever I have to do a FHIR introduction presentation. I've done that maybe, well, more than 100 times, I would think. And still, when I get up there on the stage, I am like, those people, I don't think they're going to like me. No, but so I can understand if you're all a little bit nervous about that part, but you'll be okay. If you have any questions during the day, of course, you can reach out to us. But if you see anyone in a yellow shirt, that will be able to help you out with any sessions that you're looking for, etc. So just come up to us. Also other questions, then yeah, we are, at FHIR, we're a friendly bunch. And also, again, as Gino said, those people, and Anja said it as well, the FHIR community, I find that this is a nice and warm community as well. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what you have done and see your presentations and talk to you a little bit. So, yeah.
Thank you.
So they color coordinate us, and so if you are looking for people too, the color yellow, you can approach people. So.
Yes, so they're going to be the experts, but some experts also don't do sessions today, so that's fine. Yeah, there's a lot of experts here, so if you have any FHIR questions at all, just walk up to anyone and talk to them. And you can identify the first timers by the first timer ribbon, which you also got. So that's how you know. So yeah, what is your favorite FHIR resource?
Yeah, I also wanted to say observation, so I will not do that. But I really like related person because I'm at a stage in my life where people around me get older, need help in their healthcare or just regular things that need to be done at home, etc. And in healthcare systems, those people are not really represented usually because we have healthcare professionals and we have patients, right? So in FHIR, you have the related person resource type that is there for representing those other carers that are not healthcare professionals but do a lot of stuff for patients. So I guess that would be my favorite one, although of course it's not nice if you have to be the related person of someone, but yeah, it's nice to be able to help them and also in FHIR then to be able to represent them as part of their healthcare records.
Thank you so much. James, you're up.
There we go. All right, cool. Hi, everyone. Yeah, great. Thank you. I'm James Agnew. I am my day job. I'm a CTO with a company called Smile Digital Health. But I guess more relevant to this conference, I have been an open source advocate in healthcare systems for a long, long time. Helped to start a project called Happy. We produce a Java-based open source implementation of FHIR. Possibly some of you guys have used it. Just like these guys said, I too don't love public speaking. I feel like we're all programmers here. You know, I think we're all programmers at a tech conference because we're introverts who like to pretend we're not introverts. So That's whatever. We're pretty good at that. So Anja asked me to say a few words just to kick this all off. So I was thinking about what to say, and I want to sort of relay a little bit of a story. So I started my career in healthcare in 2003. I'd graduated a couple of years before that. Had worked for I'm Canadian. I grew up in Ottawa, our capital. Had worked for our federal government for a while, decided I didn't love the work I was doing. I was working basically building human resources management systems, which, I mean, fun domain, but really not a fun domain. And had a random opportunity to get into healthcare, and took it and moved to a new city and all of that good stuff. 2003, as you know, I was just sort of getting into the world of tech at this point. And I remember at the time kind of thinking I was jealous of the people who had graduated and sort of gotten into programming 5 years before, because of course the late 90s were the years of the dot-com boom. If you haven't heard that term, this was like the time when the internet really sort of hit the public stage. You know, things like buying plane tickets online, websites like eBay, which I mean, at these days has kind of gone away, but like the heyday of like eBay and online shopping and all these great things. I mean, you know, online banking, sort of this revolution of being able to do things. I was saying I'm an introvert. I mean, the opportunity to do banking without having to go to a bank and talk to a teller. I mean, really the world changed in the late 90s. And, you know, by the time sort of the early 2000s came, I mean, there was kind of a crash. And I mean, it's a big, complicated story with lots of reasons for it. But a big part of it was there was a big saturation. A lot of the hard problems, you know, these sort of big problems around, you know, connectivity and those types of things, I think had largely been solved, and there was just sort of a reduced need for ongoing improvement to a lot of this first generation of systems. And I remember thinking, I was kind of sad that I hadn't graduated 5 years early because I'd missed 5 years earlier because I'd missed sort of this big boom of online sort of connectivity that had happened. And in a way, I mean, I was really lucky that I sort of gravitated towards healthcare. The city where I ended up moving, Toronto, is our financial capital in Canada. And I mean, a lot of the tech jobs there are working for banks, for insurance companies, for financial service companies, fintech companies. There's a fair bit of that. I mean, over the years, the thing that I've said millions of times, and I mean, it's kind of my point here to you guys, is healthcare is a really, really fun problem domain to be working in. It's a really cool space to be working in. There's lots of reasons it's cool. I mean, the obvious one that is probably the one that's gravitating everyone towards it is the fact that you're helping people. You know, the number of times in my career I've witnessed systems that I've built, you know, sometimes helping strangers have healthy lives, but the times I've witnessed, you know, it impacting the lives of my family, my friends, my loved ones. I mean, that's happened to me a bunch of times, and obviously that's a super rewarding thing. So from that angle, working in healthcare is really cool. But I mean, that's actually not the main reason I stay with healthcare. The main reason I stay with healthcare is because we've still got loads and loads of hard problems to solve. It's not like in banking where, you know, it's been 20 years since online banking's been around. And I mean, I don't want to say that there's no more problems to solve in that space, but they don't have the big, meaty, hard, you know, impactful problems left to solve that we still have in healthcare. And I think that's really fun. I've got some time, right? Cool. It's just a good story. So in 2003, I graduated. You know, I'd recently graduated. I got a job at a hospital in Toronto, and I'll always remember this. My very first project, my boss said to me, you know, I was working for this hospital in what's called Toronto's Hospital Row. It's this funny street that's got 4 big major hospitals, all one after the other on the street, which sounds weird. There's a good reason for it. They all have different specialties. There's a children's hospital, a rehab hospital, and a couple of different complex care hospitals. So despite the weird sound, it does kind of make sense. We have a bunch of them all right next to each other. I remember my boss explaining to me, we do have patients who move between these facilities, and of course each of these facilities has a different medical record system. In these days, this was the early days of electronic medical records, but every one of these hospitals did have an electronic chart. They were using computers to do their orders and in some cases their orders, certainly their documentation. My boss said to me, we want to build a portal that will let a doctor in one of these facilities see data from another one of these facilities. And I remember saying to my boss, what are you, like, that doesn't already exist? Because of course, you know, in these days, like, it's not like we had great interoperability in the world, but I could buy a plane ticket using Expedia in those days. I could take my bank card to any bank's, machine and take out money, and there was a terrible charge for it, but it was a thing I could do. I could make long distance phone calls, which it's hilarious to be excited by that at this point, but in those days, the fact that I could call another city and that, there was connectivity there, that was amazing. So I remember saying to my boss, like, what are you talking about? Why do we have to build this? And he said, no, of course, we don't have anything like that. Every one of these hospitals is its own database, its own silo of data. We're building something revolutionary here. And we ended up building a system. Shortcut to a couple of years later, we built that system, and it was revolutionary. That really impacted care for a lot of people in the city I lived in. But I'll tell you, it was a really, really difficult system to build for all kinds of reasons. Getting access to data was just awful. We had 2 EMR systems we had to talk to. One of them we had to interface, we had to get data out of it using an old protocol called HL7 version 2. They didn't have documentation for how you sent queries to it and what the responses looked like, so we had to figure that out by trying things. The other system we had to talk to was even worse. It had it was a client-server architecture. It had a sort of a rich client that worked on a Windows workstation. We took a packet sniffer and looked at how it talked to its database and figured out the communication between the two. It was just awful. It was terrible. It was fun. It was fun, but it was a nightmare. And we ended up building this system that worked, was super slow, but it was better than the alternative of phone calls. If anyone was in the keynote, hearing about the many phone calls, we replaced a whole bunch of those phone calls with this system. So it really did impact care. But the point is, it took us about 4 years to build a really, what is a comically simple portal at this point. Sometimes I do this talk with slides, and I've got a bunch of pictures of these hilariously antiquated looking, this old-fashioned website we built, and it's really funny to look at the pictures. But this was 4 years of about 10 developers' time building this system. And I think often, if we were building this system today with the modern FHIR interfaces that are available out of EHRs, it probably would have been one developer working for 6 months or less to build the thing that took us 4 years back in the day. So we've got, there is a world of opportunity sort of out there for anyone who's getting into this space today. So I think I'll leave it there. I just want to say, we've spent the last 20 years of my career, there's lots of people like Gino, like Miriam, who've been working in this space for a long time. The problems we've been trying to solve over the last 20 years are making data available. We're not even worried yet about how do we unlock value from that data. How do we do cool things with that data? That's the problem for you guys to solve. So with that, I'm super excited to see what you guys are going to show us this afternoon. I know it's going to be cool. I love the student track. It's always a good time. So on behalf of our entire jury, we're all super excited to see what you guys are going to show us. Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much. James, just one question for you. What's your favorite FHIR resource?
Can't get away from that. I did think of a fun answer. My favorite resource is the value set resource, used, of course, for terminology, for holding codes, or for doing. So the reason I like the value set resource, if you ever want to sound smarter than you are, and I love sounding smarter than I am, there is a whole bunch of fun terms you can use when you're talking about value sets. Talking about the binding strength and element bindings, intrinsic and extrinsic value or code systems. There's all this hilarious terminology, and they all have, in the end, actually not very complicated meanings. But if you want to sound smart, talk about value sets. I love that.
Awesome. That was fun. Thank you. So, yeah, now you've heard from the jury. You've heard what's going to happen today. So, I just have one request. Definitely give us some feedback after Dev Days so we can make the student track better, get more students excited about this. So you can reach me on the Whova app. You can also email me. And then after the student track, just fill out the feedback. Do you have any questions left, or do you know everything now about today? And do you know I'm going to get up and go there and I know everything? Okay, one question. Ooh, that's a good one. What's my favorite FHIR resource? Okay, so, That is a very good question. I was like, okay, I'm going to ask them this, but I didn't think of my own answer. No. Okay, so I have a love-hate relationship with this FHIR resource because it's the one that I'm currently working with the most, and it is the claim resource. So yeah, this is there's a whole financial module of FHIR, and it's the module that most people try to avoid because it is very difficult. I mean, you have the whole insurance space. How does billing work? How does the healthcare system operate? How do the hospitals get paid, for example, things like that. But it's also really interesting because not that many people have worked with it. So it's something that's new and something that is very important in the project that I'm working on right now. So we're excited to get that figured out and see how the Austrian billing system fits into that and how we can make that work with the FHIR standard. So yeah, I would say that. So yeah. Are there any other questions that you have? Okay, awesome. That's good. So yeah, if you think of something later on, just walk up to me or walk up to them, and just ask your questions. And just before I end, I want to also thank HL7 Austria, who supports me a lot in what I do, and that's also my FHIR community back home when I'm not at DevDays. So I just wanted to thank them as well. So yeah, and I want to invite you, get involved with your local HL7 community. So do that. Awesome.